Shreya. I'm the founder of Darpan International Film Festival, and we have our esteemed panel here. Thank you for coming. Darpan is a festival that celebrates regional Indian cinema. It started as a purely Bengali international film festival. Primarily, we look at Bengali films, but we are also walking into the woods, as we say. The reason we call this session a walk in the woods is all the regional cinema industries. You have either a Hollywood, Tollywood, you have Bollywood, and various others. So Darpan is walking into the woods, and we hope that we can be successful because there is a rebirth of regional Indian cinema. But what we wish to explore is how much of it is being taken in by the audience, how much of support are we getting. If you see the festival this year, we have various films from various regions in India. We're stepping slow, going into some of the regions for the first time, like Bhojpuri cinema. Maharashtrian cinema we've had before, and we have released a few. So yes, we have a great mix and match, but the first blessings did come from the Bengali film industry, and you have representatives from the industry here. And with all your support, we hope we can add that little bit to bringing in more films. So I leave it up to the panel and the moderator. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you at the festival. The opening film is tonight, and we have films across all 3 days from across languages, all with English subtitles, at the Cathay and the Arts House. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shashi. Since we're running very late, I'll dispense with any opening remarks and plunge straight into the panel discussion. As you might have noticed, the lineup of the panel has changed because of some last-minute withdrawals that we did. So I'll just introduce you to the speaker. I'll give more elaborate introductions later. To my right is Ravi Yadav. Next to him is Mr. J.K. Ray. Next to him is Ashish Vyakti. And next to him is Mr. Arindam Shil. So maybe I'll start with Mr. Arindam Shil and then proceed in the order. What we can do is maybe each speaker can speak for roughly, make brief remarks for 5 minutes or so, and then we can open up the floor to the audience so that we really have an interactive session. Mr. Arindam Shil, to many of you, really needs an introduction. He's actually a unique personality in the sense that he's an actor, producer, and director during Diwani. So he's, of course, acted in several films. He also directed a Bengali film in 2012 called Ahutto. And he's been involved in line production for several notable films, and not just Bengali, some of the more notable Hindi films. He has been involved in production in Kahani, and very recently he's been involved in the production of a Bengali film which was recently released called Gunahash. So without any further ado, over to Mr.
Thank you so much. I need to really pull my mouth so close that I think it's better to speak like this. Everybody can hear? Firstly, I object to this proposal of the name itself, of Walk in the Woods. I absolutely do not subscribe to the fact that Indian cinema is just Bollywood. That is a common notion. When we talk about Indian cinema, the only thing that comes in our mind is what is produced from Mumbai. And that went on to be termed as Bollywood. And similarly, there has been Bollywoods and Tollywoods. Presently, most of the films that are being made in Kolkata do not come from Tollygunj, from where Tollywood gets its name. It's made from all other places other than Tollygunj mostly. By naming them into Bollywoods and Tollywoods, I think we have regionalized cinema, Indian cinema, which never was regional. we cannot talk about this present time that there are sections, South Indian films, Bengali films, or Bhojpuri films, or Assamese films that are doing well. Then we'll forget our past. I mean, we cannot forget our past. We cannot forget Adur Gopal Krishnan. We cannot forget Janu Barua. We cannot even forget Mani Ratnam for the contributions that they have done to so-called regional cinema. And it's been for ages that this struggle, this whole thing has been going on to create sensible cinema. And I think that sensible cinema, when we talk about sensible cinema, the most of it has come out of so-called regional cinema. Even the cinemas that Satyajit Ray produced might have been called regional films, but they went on to become more international than any of Indian films that has ever happened in the history of Indian cinema. The only person who has been so close to the Oscar, or who has got an Oscar in this country, has been Satyajit Ray. But still, we have Ashish, whose knowledge in cinema and whose has been great. His experience. We have JK. They will all talk about it. I will leave the discussion with a very simple note that cinema in down south is so popular, is so extremely popular. And the budget in which South Indian films are made or have been made for years are even more than normal in the films. I believe that has only happened out of one fact, because the cinema that's made down south comes from states where cinema is a religion. Only when cinema becomes your religion, only when cinema becomes your passion, then only you can create the kind of cinema that you want. You can take cinema to the heights that you want. You can actually talk about nationalization or internationalization of cinema. As far as Kolkata Bangla film industry is concerned, there has been a revolution. Much of change has happened. A lot of good films are being made. How economically viable, that is important. And that viability, based on that viability, we perhaps tend to mark a film regional or national. But the fact remains that at this present moment, for Bangla cinema, it is very important to have the right kind of producers, the right kind of makers, people who understand cinema per se. There was a time when there were about 42 films were being made per year in Bangla cinema. Last year, 125 films were released, but most of them did not do so well. But the fact remains, there were many films like never before which had wonderful subjects and which were absolutely new in their presentation and in their everything. And there were many films that have traveled all across, not just India, but all across the world. But still, if we take on the success rate, we will see that almost 80% of the films that were done did not make the kind of money that they should have. Then again, if we look at the statistics, we'll see that out of this 125 films, almost 90% of the films have come from single producers or new first-time producers. That's where my point is. My point is that anybody and everybody cannot come and make cinema. In the Western countries, they have film production as a complete degree of learning. You have to learn film production to do film production. And here we come from a country where we make one of the best of the films, but still we believe that perhaps acting in cinema or making cinema is the easiest thing on earth. When you can't do anything, you can go and work in films. That marginalizes cinema. You know, you have to grow out of it. Each and every member of a team has to believe in what they are doing, and it has to start from the producer, because the money that is being invested, that has to be done with certain kind of integrity, that where I am investing, what I am investing. So that is very important, and that can only further take cinema or transcend cinema to other level. We are doing very well. South Indian films have already gone across, not just India, but they make business all across the world. There are other films also, but we need to much more. Maharashtrian films have been doing so well. There was a time when Assamese film, a great Assamese films used to be done, but not right now perhaps. But again, Bengali cinema has been really doing well. And the only way when we talk about the fact that it's a walk in the woods, I would say no, it's not about walk in the woods. I would say all this so-called regional cinema, where they stand, we have to walk out of the woods. That's when we can make them truly international. I think Ashish will go ahead and elaborate more on this.
Thank you, Mr. Phil, for dwelling on the complexity and nuances of regional cinema and arguing against the suffix wood, which is so prevalent in Indian cinema. Our next speaker is Ashish Vidyanti. He is uniquely positioned to speak about this issue. He's acted in Telugu, Bengali, Kannada, Malayalam, and most recently a Bhojpuri film called Viswa.
Actually, I've acted in 11 films, 11 languages.
11 languages.
300 films. So that's. So I'll just kind of go straight on.
Okay.
So save you the trouble.
Yeah.
So interesting. Okay, now I've been a student of history, and one of the things that really enthuses me about cinema is that cinema worldwide belongs. It belongs to a place, to a people. When we brand cinema to a particular, just for our understanding, you know, it's like dumbing it down. And for example, American cinema is long understood as Hollywood. And if you know a little bit about cinema, we know that Hollywood is also the kind of films which are made in the US. Okay, or say even theater. I mean, if you look at, there is Broadway and there is off-Broadway, and then there is completely fringe stuff happening. So, as I see it, cinema belongs to whichever place that film is being made in. What makes it unique is, whenever we make or whenever we watch a film which belongs to a place, we hear it. It is not like anything that we have heard or seen before. So when we watch Rashomon, there'll be amazing, much more technically adept things before that. But we say, oof. Okay, or we watch Bhatir Pachari. We say, oof. You know, or we watch Jameen, which is from Kerala. So, oof. You know. The point here is that as identities, as people get in touch with their identities again, after they refuse to be smothered by one parent identity, it could have been English a few years back, and then it became Hindi as far as India is concerned. if you look at different parts of the West, if it was just Hollywood and big studios, and then somebody, the Sundance, the films started, they got an opening there, and now people are doing it in New York also. Robert De Niro, Make Sure and things like that. Just to paraphrase this, now that's one language, that's English. So we got English films made by studios, English films which get a limited release, they get released elsewhere, but they are idioms which belong to a section of people. I understand, as I've been working across 11 languages, I have understood the uniqueness which each of those 11 languages bring. And as Ananda very subtly put it, the trouble is that we are not celebrating uniqueness. When we make films in that language, it's more of a wannabe that language film. So as a result, even though the language that we hear, just hear, is that language, say Bangla or Tamil or Telugu or Hindi, but it's a wannabe something else. So it's a wannabe English film or a wannabe Korean film or a wannabe Telugu film being made in Hindi, being made again in Telugu. So it is a huge khichdi which is happening, and therefore this topic here for me, I'm not addressing that at all. The films that I want to address, that I really am passionate about, are the unique voice which each region has. And when we have festivals like Darpan, when we can celebrate that unique voice, which will never be in majority. So, when we talk of Telugu's films and we talk of big budget Telugu films, they actually are not Telugu films. They're entertainers in Telugu. Or the big budget Tamil films, they are not Tamil films. They are big budget entertainers in Tamil. Similarly, there are quaint films being made, independent films being made about issues there in which necessarily the good doesn't win over evil. We have got nuances in which real life or even madness of that filmmaker is being echoed. I have seen a lot of similarity between the court patronage to art, so many centuries back. There were certain art forms which the king gave the nod to. Today, it is the public which gives nod to it. So it's the commercial patronage that a commercial filmmaker is seeking. Now, the idiom is commercially viable. The language is whatever. But the idiom does not belong to those people. For example, years back I had worked in many of the languages, and my father is a Malayali, so I wanted to do a Malayalam film. And my image of Malayalam film was Chamin. And I was offered a Malayalam film. I was thrilled. And I go there, and the first shot, they said, "Sir, I want you exactly like you did in Dil," which was a Tamil film of mine. I was like crestfallen, heartbroken, and here I was on top of a bridge, and they wanted me to swirl in that particular way which they had seen me in that film. It just reminded me that I am not doing Malayalam film at that point. At that point, I'm doing a commercial viable film, which happens to be Malayalam. So, when we are speaking of the unique language in which a film is made, that language, I feel, worldwide is placed in that people, in that culture, in that time. If you look at films worldwide, if you look at Polanski, when he was making his films, and as he continues to make his films are placed in that time. It cannot even be bracketed with European cinema. It's a Polanski, okay? Or you got Almodovar, when he's making his films are his tales, and that is why they stand out unique. Actually, their films don't make money. Woody Allen has never made money. But he makes a film of a New Yorker. He makes New York stories again and again and again. That's the story that he can tell. He's not as good as Clint Eastwood or Spielberg, who can pick up any script and make it viable. Now, that is the understanding which I have, which is absolutely kind of for Indian cinema also. As long as we are away from our idiom, we are just trying to make a commercial film that either works or doesn't work, and you might like it or not like it. But it is definitely not that ethos film. It's not a Tamil film or a Telugu film or a Kannada film or a Bangla film. If you look at the recent trend now, what's happening? Very interesting thing is happening. People have suddenly realized their individual identities. In India, a spectacular thing is happening. Even as we kind of love celebrating the Indianness of us, we have realized that some of us are Malayalis, some of us are Tamils, some of us are Bengalis, and they're well-read. So they want to listen to stories of their times, of literature, of their ethos, of their songs. And a spectacular thing is happening. Poetry is finding place in cinema. Earlier it couldn't work. No way. People would say, B, C center mein nahi chalega. It means in B and C centers it won't work. That's how the distribution language is. Thanks to that amazing thing called the multiplex, a film that you like can be made. Because a multiplex with 150 people is there, and you can go and watch it, and you can tell your 350 friends, and they'll come and watch it. Thanks to that, in Bangla, in Tamil, not so much in Telugu, in Malayalam, some amazing films are getting made. And they are truly that language films, that ethos films. In Hindi, we have got some amazing films being made, which are, out-of-the-box stories, which people never thought could be told. And for me, the walk out of the woods, I mean, if you want to play around with the words, has already started happening. For example, I'll tell you, right in, Mumbai happens to be in a state called Maharashtra, okay? And Maharashtra, the language is Marathi. And we have some extraordinary films being made, which are stories, simple tales, which will be a single line. And it's an amazing film being made. And people are going and watching it. The kind of people who would go and watch the plays there, they go and watch those films. They say, wow, maza aa gaya. Their stories are being told. It doesn't have the cars blowing up, and it doesn't have, it is not aping anybody. It is telling its own story. When Srijit makes a film, he doesn't have to compete with anybody because he just manages to tell his story. Okay? Now, we've got many such people who are making such amazing films. They are aided only by what they believe in because they are telling their own stories. And that, I think, is a reflection of the democracy that we are, the Indian democracy, where people are actually shouting out and speaking out their identity, which I think is going to create, and there's going to be an amazing flux which is happening. Because people are going to be really upset, don't try to club us in with this, and they are saying that don't club us with Hindi, because we have a different identity, we make different kinds of films. And right in the heart of Maharashtra, in Mumbai, as we are making, those amazing Marathi films are being made. Those filmmakers, they something which you might think is a political, a fun story. They are making such remarkable stories which lampoon things. And they can tell their story in their language. They are not trying to ape. The villain isn't getting killed. Okay? Something interesting is happening. So, as we kind of set this forward, I think one of the things that we have to appreciate is, as cultures speak for themselves, their unique voices will lead to their unique cinema be seen and appreciated. And power to the individual voice, because the individual voice will make that voice unique. and amazing.
Thank you, Ashish, for speaking about the new directions that Indian cinema and our next speaker is Mr. J.K. Ray, who is literally on the other side of the right. He is the head of Reliance Entertainment in Kolkata and has been associated with the funding of several popular Bengali films, including Gunahash, which was shot definitely in this part of the world in Bangkok.
Okay. See, we are a studio. Reliance Entertainment is a studio, and we are present internationally. We have a major stake in Rainbox, which is Steven Spielberg. Well, coming to the roots, basically, there's only one root, which is Hollywood. All others are out of root. But in India, when we come to our context in India, like, we have more than 22 plus languages that what we speak in that country. Of course, Hindi is the national language. So, decent amount of things, we call it a national film or whatever. And all others are treated as regionals. Why? Because they are all of different languages. Out of one of these 24, 23 languages. Now, instead of going into, I think Ashish and Arindam has done a lot of things. Instead of going into the aesthetic part of it, let me give you some data which can be base of our interactive station. Punjabi films. 3 years back, on an average, for the last 1 decade, 2 Punjabi films were being made annually. Since the scenario, whole scenario changed after one film. There was a film called Jat and the Juliet. Post the success of the film, today there are more than 60 films being made in Punjab. Marathi, Ashish have already talked about it. Marathi was about 5-6 films in a year. I think 2004, Ashish was? 2004? Yeah. 2004 there was a film called Swas, which got nominated for Oscar, and the whole scene changed. Today there are more than 75-80 films made in Marathi, and they are big time successful films, not only critically acclaimed, but commercially also. Tamil, of course, is a different market. Tamil is as good, like there are about 500 films being made in Hindi language annually. Tamil does more than Hindi. Tamil is about 600 plus. Telugu is about 400. Malayalam and Kannada would be in and around 70-80 each. And then there's Bengali, which has seen an upsurge, like what Arindam had said, for the last 2-3 years. It has crossed the 100 barrier. Last year, 213. 2013 was 125 films. So these are the kind of figures. But now coming to the commercial part of it, it shows a different kind of a scenario. Bengali is the 5th largest spoken language in the world. The number of cinemas, theatres, which showcase Bengali films in West Bengal. I'm not talking about any other parts of the country or international. Only in Bengal is 330 cinemas. They show Bengali films in West Bengal. Telugu, which makes about 350 to 400 films in a year. 2,209 cinemas showcase Telugu film. Tamil is about 1,900 cinemas. Kannada, Malayalam, each has got 900. These are exclusive cinemas of that language. I'm not talking about, like say for example, Marathi. Marathi is not exclusive in any particular cinema. Marathi, the cinema also, where the cinema is there, they play Hindi as well as Marathi. But these theatres which I'm talking about are exclusive for that particular language, which shows the size of market, the sheer volume of the market that we are talking about. UP has got 900, but not all of them, I'm sure doesn't show Bhojpuri, all of them, no, but they have a mix and match. Vis-a-vis, now we come back to, as I said on the first place, that is only 330 cinemas in this country. So like what Arindam said, that yes, cinemas have been, plenty of cinemas have been, yes, they have been made. And, but unfortunately, the showcasing is not that strong enough to pull that universe up like what a Tamil or a Telugu has done. Even in Punjab, Punjab also do not have exclusive Punjabi theatres as such. They share the same theatre with other languages, with Hindi. But Punjab has a huge market in Canada because of the expats. And most of the fundings also come from that part of the world. So this is the kind of scenario that we have as far as the language, cinemas in different languages. Instead of calling it regional cinemas, let's call it cinemas in different languages. That's the kind of overview of the market that we have. Now coming to overseas, Hindi of course is very strong overseas. They have a very strong international market today. Apart from that, Telugu, Tamil do have. And why do I say this? Because see, we always been debating amongst ourselves in Bengal, saying that why doesn't Bengali have an overseas market or a strong overseas market? Why doesn't, there's a lot of expats, Bengalis all over the world. And if you club the Bangladeshis along with them, then it's a huge amount, huge audience. But unfortunately, they do not go to theatres to watch cinemas. That for a Tamil or a Telugu family, even whether they stay in India or whether they stay abroad, anywhere in the world, a Tamil or a Telugu cinema releasing on that particular week, it's a part of a budgetary allocation of the family. That I must go and watch this film. The whole family will go and watch this film. In Punjab it wasn't there, now it has turned out to be. Marathi changed dramatically. In Bengal, we are yet to see that phenomena happen. We are still yet, even when we talk about our own friends, probably who stays in Bombay, we release a film, say, about a week back in West Bengal. And about a week later, maybe we will release it in the other rest of the country. When we tell our friends out there, our own Bengali films, they say, yeah, I'll go and watch. No worry, I'll go and watch. By the time I ask him, and the next week the film is already gone because there wasn't much crowd. So my friend says, no, I'll sit and I'll watch it on the television. So this is the, for basically cinemas in different languages, it has to be the passion of the people speaking that language to go watch them in theatres so that the filmmakers are more encouraged to make better cinemas. And better cinemas, when I say better cinemas, I do not say whether it is critically acclaimed or commercially viable. A good cinema is a good cinema and a bad cinema is a bad cinema always. There's no difference to anything else like commercially or critically acclaimed or something like that. So I think we have some food between all these figures so that we can start. When you have the interactive session, you probably can start. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. First of all, giving us some of the numbers and then constructing them for us. Our final speaker is Ravi Yadav, who prominent face in Marathi cinema. His fourth film, Time Pass, was one of the biggest losses in Marathi cinema ever. And he's represented in this festival with Bioscope, which I believe will be released early 2000.
I'll speak about some of my experience in Marathi cinema. Because I came from Andhra Cinema, I was vice president of Shekha Cinema of Cinema. And that time, 1990 to 2005 or 2004, there were only comedy movies happening on our cinema. That's my day and as a youth, we never watched these films. And when Schwarz happened, 2004, suddenly there's confidence coming, yes, we can do it. This kind of cinema also works. Because Schwarz did extremely well as the festival circuit as well as the commercial market. And that confidence, because of that confidence, lots of people, engineers, writers, doctors, big majority of the film industry. And suddenly the different perspectives start. New stories start coming. Now what you say, the Marathi industry, the Marathi new face now, the movies crossing business of 50 CR, 40 CR, they should be in 1.5 CR, which is amazing. Actually bigger business than any Bollywood movie. Because once a film made 1.5 CR is doing business of 50 CR, it's bigger than the Gabak. It's a huge ratio. Because it's subsidized ticket rates are Marathi 13 rupees to 60 rupees. So imagine the success. But it's not happened in 1 or 2 years, it happened very slowly. First when I came to industry, I was very confused कि मैं क्या film करूँ, कौन सी film बनाऊँ. Because एक तो था कि critically acclaimed film बनाओ तो उनके family को proud करने के लोग अच्छा बात करेंगे आप. Okay, yes, जैसे बंगाली में मराठी में भी काफ़ी अच्छी language है. There are lots of good novels, poetry, and lots of people who watch drama. So plays, so वो जो tradition है, मेरे आजू बाजू में वही tradition था. लगा कि यार I do movie which people love that movie as a critical go to festivals and I go to Munich, Berlin and enjoy my life. I see good. The other cinema, it was not so popular as it's a popular cinema because there was that period and lots of humor happens. So people used to hate those kind of movies which is commercial cinema. Now the question is what to do. I go commercial cinema as my first film or do critical acclaimed cinema. Those parallels are happening from long ago. मैं क्या बनाऊँ? तो मैंने कमर्शियल फिल्म किया तो लोग हंसेंगे कि इसको एस्थेटिकली फिल्म नहीं आता. और अगर मैं एस्थेटिकली फिल्म बनाऊँ तो लोगों ने कहा इसको कमर्शियल फिल्म बनाना नहीं आता तो मैं बनाऊँ क्या? So great example अपन that time लगा है. Suddenly what happened that somehow he mixed both the tracks together. He made a good film. That was commercially commercially also. So I said, okay, I'll do a first movie which is a combination of both. So I did Natra. It was a very difficult movie for me because Tamasha movie genre finished like 1975, 1976. तो इतनी तमाशे की मूवी आ चुकी थी कि अभी लोग और देखे या ना देखे मालूम नहीं. So I did commercial movie which is got national award also. But that was my dilemma. Today also in Marathi, when we do lots of discussion, the issue happen is what kind of movie you are doing. If you are doing commercial cinema, you are not doing directly. You don't understand the craftsmanship of cinema. If you do aesthetical cinema, then you can't do commercial. You can't make commercial cinema. You can't know the masses. So what to do? Till now, if you see Marathi cinema, the 120 movie happens in a year. There are lots of films. And I think around 40% film happen only for festivals. Another film only for commercial. So I think that blend is needed. Very, it is needed because I think, like the panel says, the people who are investing money, one, the new generation, the youth who are coming from multiplex, who are very important audience. For those audience, what kind of film are making? A film like a rooted film, the subjects are very rooted, local subjects, like village farmer subject, we can present it interestingly. I think the people will come, there's some kind of business happen and the film industry will go forward. That's what I'm doing. The second film was Bal Gandharva, again very difficult topic on Natya Sangeet, which और वहाँ पे ये था कि पुणे में बाल गंधर्व थिएटर है, वहाँ के 2 स्टैचूज है बाल गंधर्व के, 2 पेंटिंग्स हैं. ये वन पेंटिंग इज लाइक अ मेल, अदर पेंटिंग इज लाइक अ फीमेल. उसमें यूथ पूछता था ये उनकी वाइफ है क्या. सो इतना अज्ञान था तो बोला जो उस पर फिल्म करनी थी तो मैं कौन सी फिल्म बनाऊँ, उसको मैं एस्थेटिकली बनाऊँ या उसको मैं कमर्शियल बनाऊँ. तो मैंने सोचा उसको मैं कमर्शियली बनाऊँ बिकॉज मेरा मेन टारगेट ऑडियंस था वो 16 ईयर ओल्ड का लड़का था जिसको उनके बाल गंधर्व की पहचान करके देनी. So मैंने उसको कमर्शियली किया and it's did fantastic with this. It's got 4 national awards. Then again, the problem of like we are very orthodox like Marathi, we never talk about sex in public, especially kids. So I did a movie called BP, called Balak Balak, and it was again very difficult topic. Dialogue के लिए most because 12 year 13 year boys and girls want to see a movie film together. That was the subject of the film because nobody talks about sex with them. not even their parents also. So what to do? So again, this third film also was, I can say, it's a blend of commercial as well as business. And again, so various film festivals in the business of Mona weddings, Now the fourth film, Time Pass, is simple love story. There is no fighting, nothing, no villain, nothing happened. Just a love story of 14-year boy and 14-year girl. A first love, and thought everything about the first love is a time pass. Overseas, so what that time pass is. So again, so I feel that as a director, as a writer, I always feel that if you can blend these two things together, I never think that Comedy cinema is different and STC is different. We can blend our roots, जो हमारा साहित्य है, हमारी संस्कृति है, उसकी जो बेस्ट थिंग्स करें और उसको इस तरीके से करें कि लोगों को फिल्म अच्छी भी लगे. नॉट ओनली फेस्टिवल में जाए और उसको आके लोग देखें और कॉमन पीपल को लोग. जैसे मैंने एक फिल्म देखी थी, मराठी में फिल्म थी, बहुत ही फार्मर्स जो सुसाइड करके उसमें वो काफ़ी फेस्टिवल्स में गई थी, लेकिन आई डोंट थिंक उसको किसी फार्मर ने देखा होगा. तो वो जो आपका टॉपिक है, आपको क्या बताना है, अगर उस लोगों तक पहुँचने की अगर कोशिश हो, यूज़ ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, यूज़ ऑफ मार्केटिंग, यूज़ ऑफ वेब डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, तो आई थिंक दिस इज पॉसिबल.